Washington Journal continues.
To the oil spill now, and at our table is Congressman Joseph Gow, Republican of Louisiana, 2nd District, New Orleans. And Congressman, you were at this briefing by a senior BP executive yesterday, and here is the off-lead to the New York Times. I want to read the first graph and get your reaction. This was a closed-door briefing for members of Congress. Senior BP executive conceded Tuesday that the ruptured oil well in the Gulf could conceivably spill as much as 60,000 barrels of oil a day. It's more than 10 times the estimate of the current flow. When you heard that, what was your reaction?
Well, my first reaction was worry. I worry for the seafood industry of Louisiana. I worry for the small businesses of Louisiana that will be impacted. And I worry for the many fishermen whose livelihood will be affected. And after the initial feeling of worry, obviously, the second feeling was anger. Anger that we're not doing enough to address this oil spill, that from the very beginning there has been a lack of a comprehensive plan to address the spill and to address the cleanup. And so it just mixed emotions right now.
What kind of questions were there in the room for the executive?
Well, obviously, much of the questions centered on the status of shutting down the spill, what they are doing to try to shut down the spill, what programs have been implemented in order to address the cleanup, what would be the worst case scenario, and if that were to happen, what is the plan to address the problem?
Here's the Washington Post off lead. It says that scientists envision devastation for Gulf. They point out that much is still unknown here, but what they call the loop current in the water could take the spilled oil all the way to North Carolina, so through the Straits of Florida and then up the coast. They're not quite sure yet. They're going to have to see, but we want to get the phone numbers on the screen for our guest. We're talking about the federal response to the oil spill. Lines for Democrats, Independents, and Republicans on the screen here, and our guest is Congressman Joseph Gow, Republican of Louisiana. So we'll get to your calls right away, but first, the administration's response thus far. What kind of grade would you give the administration?
Well, the administration has been on the ground since the very beginning. They've been talking with BP and discussing the, I guess, solutions to the problem. But still, I'm somewhat disappointed that when we met last Friday at a briefing, there was no comprehensive plan for the federal agencies to work in conjunction with BP to address this issue. They were supposed to work out a plan over the weekend, and hopefully there's one in place.
Wanted to show you the Times-Picayune front page. It says he attaches shutoff valve, Reddy's big box to catch oil. Not sure if you can explain all the signs, but they say that in a two-step effort to contain the spill, BP on Tuesday attached a shutoff valve to one leak and said that today it will begin transporting the first of two giant containment structures meant to corral two remaining leaks at the site. Do you have hope that this will do the trick?
Well, there is always hope. And I'm a person who will hope for the best, and I'm very optimistic that this dome that they have built will be able to contain the spill, and the oil will be pumped into a vessel and will be carried away. So much of it, hopefully, will not reach the surface. But I'm holding my fingers crossed and pray for the best.
So if you look at the environmental situation, the employment situation, the economic situation with all of this, you're a representative of that area. Can you put a potential price tag on all of this? Is it too early? And who should pay?
You know, how can we put a price tag on an area's psychological health, mental health, emotional health, along with that, economic health, and how will we address all of the costs? Obviously, BP is the responsible party, but at the same time, I believe that the federal government will also have to play a role in the recovery process. One of the issues that we've been pushing is the oil revenue sharing. a legislative piece was passed several years back, which would not allow Louisiana to participate in the revenue sharing until I believe it's either 2016 or 2017. Traditionally, Louisiana has not received any revenue sharing, and we've been the hub for the nation's oil and gas industry. Our coasts have been devastated, but at the same time, we're not receiving the necessary money in order to restore our coast. So one of my main priorities is to accelerate the ability of Louisiana to receive a share of the revenues that comes from the oil and gas industries.
And what's the level of fear down there right now?
Right now, people are just anxious, are extremely fearful. I had a town hall last night in which there were about 10,000 participants, and they were concerned for their health. They were concerned for their businesses. Many people are concerned about jobs. Tourism has been affected. Conventions, I believe, have been canceled. Quite frankly, people are rightly concerned because when I walked out of my front house, I can smell the oil residue from my house, and the emotional and psychological factor will be felt for a long time.
First call for the Congressman, Dallas, Texas, William, Democrat. Hi there.
How you doing?
Morning.
Morning. I'd like to know, I'd like to ask the congressman, how come he's not doing too much for the blacks down there with this whole area down there? You know, they voted him in, and he's not doing anything for the blacks or the poor whites down through there. He's doing everything for the rich neighborhoods.
Anything on
I'm
the
wondering,
caller? Anything specifically on the Gulf oil spill you want to mention?
okay, I'd like to ask this much also. He gonna give any of the black folks or the poor whites some of those jobs out there on that in that disaster out there?
Made his point a couple times.
Well, first of all, my record is very clear. I have voted with the administration 68% of the time. I am one of the most bipartisan members in the House of Representatives. So I've been looking at recovery issues to address what we need to do in order to remove recovery forward. And this is just another problem that we have to contend. For the past week and a half, we've been looking at ways in order to assist everyone who are involved. We have provided information with respect to the $1 billion fund that was established to address this very specific issue. And I've been getting agencies to be involved, getting fishermen to be involved. I was visiting one of the training centers just yesterday, trying to get people to apply and to provide them with the necessary information in order to be involved in this cleanup and prevention process.
Montgomery, Alabama. Michael, independent caller for Congressman